Hey, what's up guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel and welcome to this video. So this is the part 14 of our Laravel for Beginners tutorial, and in this video we're going to discuss about user authentication. But as a sort of review, in the previous tutorials we have worked with our create, read, update, delete functionality for our project. So as I've said, in this video we're going to discuss user authentication. So as you can see, we have here the login register functions, and if you try to go to our database, we can see we have already created or populated our users table with the attributes ID, name, email, email verified, password, token, and the created at and updated fields or attributes. So let's go back to our code editor and try to add more features to our project and add the user authentication and perhaps the user access control to our project. So let's go back to our code editor and let's try to see the views. In the views we have already this file, right? So as you can see, we have different options and different menus, the home, services, blog, the about, and of course we have added the login and register links so that we will be able to log in, and of course we will be able to register to our project. And for now, let's just copy this because we're going to override this file. So let's do that by creating a new file as a sort of backup, and let's try to open up our command line so that we'll be able to create the authentication or user authentication for our project. So in here, let's just type in PHP artisan and then make colon and then the keyword oath, and then let's just try to wait for a few seconds to enable the so as you can see, we have here a problem, command make oath is not defined. So I think we have so instead of using the artisan make oath, so I think we need to run the command php artisan instead, and then UI and then oath. So this will enable the authentication or user authentication for our project. And we have here a prompt that says the oath login.blade.php view already exists. Do you want to replace it? So for now, let's just say yes, because we want them to be replaced with a new version of the login.php, the blade.php, email.php. And then I'm just gonna answer yes to this prompt, verify. So this will again override our old files. So authentication scaffolding generated successfully. So if we try to run our project right now, let's say refresh. Okay, so as you can see, we have already overridden our old files, and as you can see, we don't have any additional options here for our blog services and adding the post. So we need to add that in our app.blade.php file. So as you can see, we have the backup for our app.blade.php file, and we have here the new one. Okay, so all we have to do is we can just copy the, for example, the link from here. So starting from here to the first navigation item for our home, and then paste it here. There you go. And of course, we need to add also the navigation for adding a post. So UL left side of our navigation. Okay. So we have here the option to add post. And of course, guys, we can make the navigation bar instead of light, we can say inverse. Just gonna remove this. So navigation bar inverse, and then save this one. And let's go back to our browser and then refresh. So as you can see, we have added all the options to add post. We also have the home, services, blog, about, and of course the login and register pages. And as you can see, we need to fix this display right here because I think it's not indented. So let's go back to our code editor and try to modify that. So index for our content. So we don't have here the div container, so we need to add that in our app.play.php file. Okay, so we have here the content, yielding of content, but we need to add the container class or container div with the class container. Okay, so this should solve the problem of the indentation or the margin left for our project. Refresh. So as you can see, now the content is indented. And if we try to go to register, we can already register here by using our name. So for example, Tom saw, and an email. Let's just say tom@gmail.com, and then password. Okay, and then register. And as you can see, we have redirected into our home and prompted that we are now logged in. So as you can see, we have enabled the user authentication, and the Laravel takes care of all the intricacies of using the user authentication within our project. Okay, now so we can close this and let's try to edit our home.play.php. So instead of just showing you are now logged in, let's just say we can add a post here. So that will be post, and then create, and create post. And then we're just going to add a class for our button or link, btn primary. And let's just say here your blog post. Then save this, try to preview, and then refresh. So we have here the updated dashboard or home page. Then we can just create a post. But if you try to look up in our database post, because we want to add the ID of the user that has posted the certain post, so we need to make a migration for that to add the attribute ID of our user. So now let's add the migration for adding our user ID into our database table. So in here, we need to run the command php make php artisan, and then make, and then migration, and then the name of our migration is add user ID to post. Okay, so php artisan make colon, and then migration add user ID to post, and it says it created the migration. So if we try to go back to our file and then under database and then migrations, we now have the migration add user ID to post. Okay, so if you try to run our migration right now, nothing will happen because we don't have any logic inside the up and the down function. So in order for us to add the ID to the user table in our database, we need to have some logic here and also run the migration. So inside here, we need to say table and then integer because the value of the user ID is of integer type. So user and then underscore ID and then semicolon. And of course, whenever we want to roll back the changes that we made in our migrations, we can just say table and then drop column and then specifying the column user ID. So, okay. So after that one, save this and then let's just say PHP artisan migrate. So migrating user ID post and it says migrated. So let's check our PHP myadmin. So inside here in our database, we can see we have already the user underscore ID. And for now, let's just say it belongs to user 1, this particular post. And also this one, it belongs to the user 1. So it just, it belongs to someone. Okay. So now let's try to edit the controller for our post because whenever we add a certain post, we want the user ID or grab the user ID and add that along with the other information of the post. So let's just go to HTTP and then controllers and then post controllers. Okay. So post. So inside our store function, we just need to have the user ID or pass in the user ID. So here post and then user ID equals, and this time we're not gonna use the request because the user ID doesn't come from the user doesn't come from request. It comes from the user auth. So it should say auth and then user, and then we're just going to have or grab the ID. Okay, and then save. So here, refresh, add post, and then certain title of a post, new body of a post, and then submit. So we have now the certain title of a post, and if we try to check the third post, we can see that the user ID has been populated by value of 1, which means that this particular post belongs to the user with the ID 1. So I think that's all there is to it for this tutorial. In the next video, we're going to discuss about access control for our post. So see you in the next video. Thanks.